Hey guys, Joseph here. Happy 2024. If you've watched even a single one of our installations, then you've heard us talk about how to set up and add a fuse. This is the most effective and safest way to hardwire your dashcam, and it's a must-have for us at BlackboxMyCar. Now, repeating ourselves time and time again isn't really ideal and doesn't let us provide you with the best and most detailed info. So that's the purpose of today's video, providing a definitive answer for how to use these handy tools, and in the latter part of this video, we're also going to be covering how to install a battery pack, which differs from a standard hardwire. Before we proceed, let's define what an add-a-fuse kit is. Also known as a fuse tap or a fuse adapter, an add-a-fuse kit is used to add an additional circuit to your vehicle's fuse box. In basic terms, to piggyback off of an existing fuse or even create a new connection in an empty fuse slot. And these things right here are the fuses themselves that you slot into the add-a-fuse. Add-a-fuses can tap into existing fuse slots to power any accessory or device, not just the dash cam. Well, that's given that you have the wiring for your device to attach to this connector. If you're wondering where you can get this kit, it comes included in our BlackboxMyCar Installation Essential Kit, which you can check out at the link in the description below. So while add-a-fuses are relatively common and can be found at many hardware stores like Home Depot or Canadian Tire, there's a wide range of types and amperages. Our kit is a great way to cover all the bases with all types, rated for dashcam specifically. There are 4 variations of the add-a-fuses included: ATO, Micro 2, Low Profile, and Mini. This covers the vast majority of vehicles, over 90%, though there are some specific vehicles out there with unique fuse types, like the Micro 3, or slight variations that make it a difficult fit. More on that at the end. While you don't need to worry about it with our installation kits, if you want to figure out what fuse type your vehicle uses, this can vary depending on the make and model of your vehicle. The best way to figure out what type you have is to physically pull a fuse out of the fuse box with needle nose pliers, and identifying it by the teeth and shape, and matching it up to the images that you see here. Sometimes this info can be found online, or in the vehicle's owner's manual as well. On any fuse, you'll notice a number on the back, which indicates the maximum tolerance of the fuse, the highest amperage of power that fuse can handle at once. When this tolerance is passed, the fuse will likely blow, preventing power from being sent to wherever it is connected to. These act as a shield for your connections, so that in the event of a power surge, your systems aren't overloaded and fry, which would cause damage to the entire system. If you're connecting to an existing fuse, then the ordering in the add-a-fuse is important. Make sure that the existing fuse goes first, closest to the legs or teeth of the add-a-fuse, your first line of defense. Here we'll label that as position 2. The amperage of the existing fuse should be greater than the new fuse that we're adding, which will rest on top of the existing fuse. The new fuse that we're adding will go into position 1. The reason for this is because all power for the fuse is going through this first fuse, both the original purpose and draw of the fuse, plus the added draw from your dashcam. Here in this example, we're using an existing 10 amp fuse, along with adding a smaller new fuse that's 5 amps on top. So if 8 amps are already being drawn by the vehicle and the dashcam adds 2 amps of power draw, then you'll need that first fuse tap to be rated at least 10 amps. Then the added fuse from your kit should go second and should be equal or less than the original fuse. What's important to understand is that the only draw that will go through the second fuse is going to be from your added connection. Working with that same 2 amps of power draw from earlier, then if you use a 30 amp fuse tap, that really doesn't provide much protection, allowing 28 amps of excess power to flow through. While this large fuse is technically usable, it won't really be protecting much of anything. If you're using an empty fuse slot, simply put the one fuse tap in the first position. For a dashcam, we recommend selecting an existing fuse slot and tap that is rated around 10 to 20 amps. And the new fuse that you're adding can be around 5 to 10 amps. Within our essential installation kits, we include fuse taps that are within that range. Now, if you're installing it with a battery pack, we'd recommend selecting an existing fuse slot and tap that is rated 20 to 30 amps to account for the increased load needed, so that the new fuse that you're adding is around 10 to 20 amps. we can provide that range for you in our installation kits too. Do not use any of the fuse slots used by any of your vehicle's critical components, such as the airbags and engine modules. This is to prevent any worst-case scenarios. If anything goes wrong, it's important not to lose these core safety features. Now, let's move on to the installation. First, let's gather the things that we're going to need. You're going to need your dash cam's hardwiring kit, an add-a-fuse kit, a crimping tool or needle nose pliers, and a circuit tester or a multimeter. Most hardwire kits have 3 wires, an accessory cable, a constant cable, and a ground wire. The ground wire is almost always black, but the yellow and red wire's functions can vary depending on your camera, so be sure to check the label on the wires themselves. To start off, locate the fuse box of your vehicle. Common places are under the steering wheel, in the glove box, or in either front footwell. If your car has multiple fuse boxes, you'll generally want to pick the fuse box closest to where you're going to be installing your dash cam. Sometimes the fuse box will have a panel or cover in the way you're going to need to remove. We recommend grounding the cable first to avoid any electrical issues. This is usually the black wire in your hardwiring kit. The black wire must be connected to an unpainted bolt in your vehicle. Most cars have at least one obvious ground point near the fuse box, sometimes already used by existing components in your vehicle. Loosen the bolt and connect the ground pincers underneath before refixing the bolt. If your ground wire is a full circle, you can fully take off the bolt before fixing the ground, or even cut open the grounding circle. Now let's select the fuse slot to use next. Not all fuse slots are created equal. Generally speaking, safer options are those that operate the sunroof, radio, moonroof, or cigarette lighter, with testable and safe functions. The cigarette lighter specifically is our go-to fuse for an ignition connection, as it generally has very minimal existing power use going through it, and very consistently turns on and off with the vehicle, while being very easily testable to make sure that's the case. Before you commit to a fuse, make sure you test it with a multimeter or a circuit tester, both when the vehicle is on and off. Ignition ACC connections will only turn on when the vehicle is on, and constant connections will stay on at all times. Once you've figured out the proper ACC and constant connections, the next thing to do is to crimp the hardwire kits to the add-a-fuses. Using your crimp tool or needle nose pliers, trim off some of the rubber tubing if necessary to expose some wiring on your hardwiring cable. Connect that cable to the other end of the add-a-fuse, the plastic tube, then crimp them down together to make the connection. When the crimping is done, use some force to tug on the add-a-fuse and wire so that nothing is loose. If everything feels tight, then the crimp is good and the connection is properly made. What we would also recommend is securing them even further with electrical tape to tighten it even further. And for our last step, it's time to put the add-a-fuse back into the fuse slot. Once everything is complete, the add-a-fuse simply needs to be put back into the slot that the fuse was taken out of. And that's it. Then it's just turning on your car ignition, connect the power cables to your dash cam, and see if it's powering up. If it does, then your hardwiring was a success, and then it's just doing the rest of the steps of mounting your cameras and hiding the cables. Moving on to battery packs. Things do change up a bit if you're wiring a battery pack, but only slightly so. First off, battery packs are wired between your dash cam and fuse box, only drawing and storing power when the vehicle is on. This means it's only a 2-wire connection between your battery pack to the fuse box, so you just need to find the accessory and ground connections. Our top battery, the PowerCell 8, comes with 2 Velcro strips, the hardwire kit, and a cigarette lighter adapter you can use instead of hardwiring. Between the battery pack to the dash cam, we also include a specific output cable for your camera, as batteries need custom spliced wiring to connect to different camera systems. With the PowerCell 8, this custom splicing is all taken care of by our team. As an example, here's what a spliced output cable would look like for a ThinkWare dashcam, where we've combined the power output cable with a ThinkWare hardwiring kit. And here's a power output cable spliced with a Vehicle HK4 hardwiring kit. Reputable batteries come with full sets of add-a-fuses already included, properly rated for batteries too. Speaking of properly rated, here's the tough part. It's essential to understand that modern batteries, like the PowerCell 8, have high and low charging modes, drawing 9 amps of power on high and 6 amps of power on low. In English, batteries draw a whole lot more than dash cams, considering they need to both power the dash cam and draw enough power to store and use once your vehicle is off. So just like we mentioned earlier, because of the increased heavier load from the battery pack, we're going to need to select an existing fuse slot and tap that is rated 20 to 30 amps to account for this. Since the battery can only draw a maximum of 9 amps, the new fuse that you're adding here can be around 10 to 20 amps. We provide that range for you in our installation kits. We recommend using a multimeter to measure the active power flowing through the fuse, so you know the fuse's limits and can avoid overloading. In a perfect world, finding a fuse that is relatively inactive during daily use is ideal so that the battery can have its own dedicated fuse to draw from. This means it's ideal to wire to a fuse slot that is either empty, has a function you don't use often, like the moonroof, or is dedicated to an add-on function that you don't have, like a heated steering wheel. When we install, we start off batteries by setting them to low, letting them run for a few days before upping them to high if needed. This is a great way to make sure everything is set up properly before adding a heavier load to the fuse. So that's the main difference between just simple hardwiring versus hardwiring with a battery pack. If it's your first time hardwiring a dash cam, there are a number of common mistakes you may come across where your hardwiring kit doesn't work as expected. Easily, the most common issue is having a bad ground connection. When an incorrect ground is used, the camera won't get power. A loose or weak ground may result in restarting when the vehicle hits a bump. Make sure your ground connection is fully unpainted and that the grounding connection isn't pressed up against anything painted. You may also encounter a blown fuse. If the fuse on the adafuse is blown, the kit will not receive power. You can tell a blown fuse by a few telltale signs. The first and most obvious being if it's melted or burnt. If it isn't, make sure to check the wire inside of the fuse too. If this wire is broken, then the fuse is blown. This can happen to inline glass fuses on the cigarette cable or hardwire kit. If this happens, it just goes to show that these countermeasures and protections are working. Make sure that you aren't overloading the fuse and then replace it. If it happens a second time, consider having a professional take a look. Some users are also concerned about the orientation of the fuses, both of the adafuse itself and the fuse taps in the adafuse. Generally, the rule of thumb is to connect the adafuse in the existing direction of all other fuses in your fuse box, so they are all facing the same direction. Sometimes, the fuse boxes can be rather tight, and you can flip the adafuse to face the opposite direction. The fuse taps in the adafuse should be connected facing toward the bottom. If you have gotten fuse taps and found that they don't quite fit your fuse box, don't give up hope just yet. Some very particular vehicles either use unique fuse tap types like the Micro 3 fuse, or they make slight variations to existing fuse types, like shortening the leg of the fuse or slimming the body of the fuse. These irregularities are commonly found in BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, and other European or specialty vehicles. If it's a small difference like shortened legs, then you can sometimes use sandpaper to trim down your adafuse and get it fitting properly. If the fuse type is too unique for that, like the Micro 3, these can sometimes be specifically ordered online or are stocked by your dealership. And that's what you need to know about adafuses. If you do have any questions about the process or inquiries about our products, please do leave a comment down below or reach out to our support team. And if you're within the Richmond and Vancouver area, you can also book an installation with us. Plus, we're giving away a 25% discount on our installations when you buy a refurbished BlackboxMyCar PowerCell 8 battery pack from us. This promo is for a limited time only, so go ahead and check out our website for yours. And that's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our channel to get the latest updates and news on BlackboxMyCar. Thanks for watching.